Dreams outrank channeling. It's a fact. After today's show, you will never question it. Welcome to the Dream Interpretation Podcast with Michael and Sandy.
Hello, welcome everybody. So excited that you are here.
This is another half hour of us eavesdropping on the very personal communication between the spirit world and souls on their journey. That's what you are, a soul on a journey. And that's why we focus on dreams. If you want to know what you're meant to be doing right now in your life at this very moment, look no further than your dreams. They reveal everything, as you're going to see. If you want to get your dream analyzed on our show, simply email radioshow@dream-analysis.com and we take it from there. Sandy, what do you want to start with?
Well, I want to start with that we have our healing course. It's called the Dream Tracker's Guide, or also End the Confusion in Your Life. It is going to be on Friday, September 26th, and we have the page up. You can go register. I owe a lot of people links that I had met with, and they've been waiting for this course. And so it is there. It's very transformational. You want to talk about it, Michael?
Well, it's something we do 2 or 3 times a year. People absolutely love it. It's although you are dragged through the mud, it feels like in this, because we get you to do what your dreams have been asking you to do. We analyze over maybe 10 weeks or so, maybe 50 of your dreams, telling you the detailed message that is in them and what they're asking you to do. And we use that to help prime a healing modality that fixes the issues those dreams are revealing. And when that happens, your life changes. It is very transformative because you drop the blocks, you drop the defensive traits that you have that you wouldn't necessarily know are really holding you back in your life. But when they're gone, you realize how much freer you are. So we call this a transformative course because that is exactly what it is. It's very transformative. But you do a lot of work in this course. It's not an easy course to do. But we absolutely love it. So if you're interested in that, go to dream-analysis.com/courses and you can get all the details about it there and register for it there. We'd love to see you there. Sandy.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that coming up because that is the reason why I'm in this business with you, is because of that course right there. I couldn't get over the transformation that people went through. And a lot of the dreams that we do on this show are based on people going through that program, and you can see the changes in them and how stuff has gone as they have let go of traumas and traits that they don't want anymore. It's really, really magical. But you're right, it is some work.
I should say, though, that that's the purpose of your life, is to eliminate those traits. It's not like, wouldn't life be better? It's no, you're here on the earth plane in order to heal the things that your dreams show. So it's totally puts you in alignment with what your mission is and helps you achieve a major part of your life purpose. Anyway, back to you, Sandy. Are we going to do some dreams?
Not just yet. We have one more big thing coming up that I'm so excited about. So we have our October summit, and that's coming up in October, and we're starting to let you guys know now so you can plan ahead. So Michael, go ahead and tell us what's going on with that.
She keeps throwing me under the bus. It's October 10th to 12th. It's 3.5 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we start off nice and slow, talking about dreams. Feels like a nice fireside chat. And then we go deep. But we teach you how to really understand a dream from the inside out. And you will absolutely love it. We've run it a number of times and we get better and better at it each time. You know, the more you practice something, the better you get at it. And we have a lot of fun with it. And we have graduates of our programs that are there at the events that will analyze dreams from participants that are there too. But it's a lot of fun all the way through. And you come away with a very deep appreciation of dream interpretation. Like if you think you're going to learn something from this show, the event is it on steroids. And it's also interactive. So in this show, you are listening or watching us talk. At the event, you can ask questions. You can even throw a dream at me. And I will tell you what it means in real time. Go to dream-analysis.com/free summit, all one word. Then it'll show you the agenda and everything else that's going on for that event. We do ask for a refundable deposit, and we do that on purpose. We do that so that everybody that shows up really wants to be there. And the energy is always great because we do that. All right, Sandu, we have to start some dreams.
I agree. And I'm real excited because that teaser you had at the beginning is going to be our first stream. Right on. I love it. Okay. The title of this stream is Korean Cruise and the Oracle, and it's from Frank. Here we go. My wife and I go on an Asian cruise. And when we get on the cruise ship, there are all these checkpoints that we have to get through. At first, we're worried about not getting through the checkpoints, but we get through every checkpoint with no issues at all. Everyone that we see at each checkpoint is so happy to see us, and they're surprised. All righty, Michael, what's going on? This all sounds so great, doesn't it?
Doesn't it? And that's what's wrong. Real guides are not surprised by your progress. So a checkpoint in a dream is normally a very good thing, but it's in this dream for a couple of reasons. One is the dream is saying, look, we're running checkpoints. We're running a sweep of the security that's around you, and we are not happy with it. But checkpoints are typically about I am moving from one state of consciousness to another, or I'm expanding beyond the borders that I currently have in my life. So they're always positive. And you're usually challenged at these checkpoints. It's not like, hey, you're just waved through. That is very, very rare in a dream. In fact, I don't know if I've ever seen that in a dream. And so the fact that the guides are just waving them through checkpoint after checkpoint after, that just does not make any sense whatsoever. And for them to be surprised, your guides are intimately familiar with what's going on in your life. They've set a lot of it up so that it happens the way it happens for you. So there should never be a surprise on their face that you get to a particular point in life. And so I met with Frank. He is not doing one of our healing courses, at least not yet. So this is just the first dream I looked at, and I was like, okay, something's wrong here. And I channeled on it. And what I found out was that his guides are fake. The guides that are supposedly helping him in his life are not the guides that he started off his life with. And I was like, okay, I have not seen this before. This is a really strange thing. I have seen where somebody else can kind of get in among your guides and play a rogue in some way. And your guides are typically aware of it, and you can ask them to get rid of that rogue. But this is where all his guides were gone. And I didn't believe it for quite a while myself. Not that I didn't believe it, I did. But it was just like shocking. And I kept trying to make sense of the dream.
Why do the dreams outrank guidance? Why did you say that?
Because dreams can't be compromised. They're always true. And we'll talk about guidance being compromised in a bit. But the dream shows where his problem is. He's not challenged by any of his guides. So what would be the point of having a guide that doesn't challenge you? They're playing a non-functioning role in this dream. Frank can channel, and he didn't even know this, but his dream showed it to him. And you can bet your life that his fake guides did not want this to be revealed to him. But they still influence his life, and their influence is showing up in this dream and showing that they're doing nothing.
Well, let's continue on then. There are all kinds of wonderful Asian people on the cruise ship with us. Some of them escort us to a giant dining hall, ask us to sit at a huge table, and then tell us that we're the guests of honor. Then later on, the people sitting next to us tell us that it's time for them to take us to see the Oracle. Ooh, I like that. When we go and meet the Oracle, he is delightful and very wise 13-year-old Chinese boy exuding tremendous joy.
Okay, so that is weird. If you're from the West, it is quite common for your guides to show up as Asians in a dream. And so that's what's happening here. But they escort him to this giant hall, huge table. He's the guest of honor, all that. That doesn't happen. If you're that high up, you don't need to come to the earth plane in the first place. And so it's a whole load of fluff just happening in the dream. And then they bring him to this oracle, which is like, oh, everybody get excited. But it's a 13-year-old boy. Again, you don't see it in dreams because that is never going to be the point of a dream. If you see somebody who's wise, they're going to look like they're wise. Like if somebody was to paint God, for instance, it's going to be a wizened old man. It's not going to be this 13-year-old boy. But anyway, continue on.
All right. He is really happy to see us and tells us excitedly that this rarely ever happens. He tells us he wants to give my wife and I a reading to tell us our animals and our number. He puts his head behind a veil where there is a bright golden light peeking out behind the veil. And when he parts it open, he puts his head in and pulls the veil very close around his head and peers in behind the veil, then laughs and turns to tell us again that this rarely happens, and he's very excited. I don't remember the animal that my wife was given, but I am told I am a giraffe and that my number is either 2 or 11. It's wonderful to meet the oracle. We're all full of joy and really excited about meeting all these wonderful, beautiful people. Alrighty, Michael, this is quite the dream.
Okay. And
This, well,
you've
this
heard
is
many, many dreams. Is it common to have dreams like this?
I don't think I've ever heard a dream like this. I would have woke up from this dream going, woohoo, I'm living life really well. This is a good
Exactly.
dream.
And that's the point. We don't want you to press any alarm bells. So we're just going to tell you, look, you're doing great. But this is just super sad. This is the compromised guidance. This is a days the fake guides want him in, blowing smoke up his, it's like, even in the dream, it's like, let me pull something out of a hat for you. Here, you're a giraffe and your number is 2. Like, what is that? That's total garbage. But you would wake up from that dream feeling great. And like I said, you wouldn't hit any alarm or panic button because you feel so good. And that's the whole point. Just let everything roll on by and please don't tell anybody.
Very interesting. So you mentioned earlier that when he channels, he didn't pick this up. So why was he not told when he was channeling?
Because with channeling, you need to ask the right questions. And this is why dreams trump channeling. And I do both, so I have no skin in the game. But you don't need to know what question to ask for a dream. It'll tell you the questions and the answers. Whereas with channeling, you need to know the question. The spirit he channels is authentic, but didn't know the guides were not. They're in different planes. And angels don't go check up on who is around them. That would be a violation. They will do it if you ask, because you have permission to ask. And then once asked, they have your implicit permission. So if he had asked, he would have been told, because his angelly channels would have looked. But like I said, essentially, dreams give you the questions you didn't even know to ask, and then they also give you the answers. And if your dreams and your channeling conflict, always trust your dreams.
Very interesting. So why did this happen?
Well, this kind of guide capture is super rare. When I channeled Anna, here's what I got. Someone had a vendetta against one of his guides. I mean, a spirit, an angel did. And he had 5, but they couldn't just take out the one that they didn't like. So they took them all and were holding them hostage. And then they replaced them so that they would go undetected, or so they thought.
I find that funny. So they thought they could get away with it, but his dreams told him differently. So now I have to ask, how did his dreams know that his guides were fake?
Your dreams are aware of everything that's going on in your life. I say on the show, and it's close to true, that your dreams come from your higher self. And your higher self has the most skin in the game for what your life purpose is about. Of all beings, your higher self has the most skin in the game. And so doesn't need permission from anyone else or anything like that to say, look, here's what I noticed is going on, and here's how you're deviating from your path, and so on and so on and so on. So very aware of everything, because it all is super important for your higher self. And so our dreams are going to be, from our perspective, the center of our universe, and are always going to be true to us, regardless of anything else that is happening. So it's not surprising that his dreams would reveal this, and everybody's dreams reveal these types of things all the time. Any type of compromise that's happening, it's going to be revealed in your dreams. But the wonderful thing is, when you understand the language and then know what to ask, then you can find out all the other things that you need to do so that you can deal with it.
Mhm. That's excellent, because that's why we say that dreams are the map and channeling gives you the direction. So that's pretty cool. All righty. Now I got one more question. Knowing that these guides are fake, did they send him in the wrong direction?
No, he was lucky because it wasn't about him at all. They weren't trying to thwart him. So his intuition, his motivation, his ambitions and desires in life were still driving him in the right direction. And so he was doing well, but he wasn't getting help. But we fixed that now. The fake guides are all gone. His real guides were released, but they couldn't step back into work. They need some healing done on them. But he has been given 3 new guides. They've been briefed on what his mission is, and now they're helping him. And like we actually met for his first session on dreams. And so we had a lot of dreams. And I did this one first, and I said, there's no point looking at your other dreams because they're just going to show this compromised guidance that you've been getting. So let's rebook. We've got your new guides now, and they're going to be helping you in your life. And so if we meet up again in 3 or 4 weeks, then we're going to see a proper account of what's really going on rather than this fluff that he got.
Yeah, so do you want to explain why we got to wait for some new dreams, and why wait so long?
Well, we always have like the next few dreams are all ready to go, which is why if you meditate and say, I'm going to have a dream about this tonight, I'm going to get an answer in my dream and I'm going to understand the answer, then you will get that dream, but you might not get it that first night. It might be the second night or third night, because there's a whole sequence of dreams already loaded into a hopper, let's say, that are directing you about other things that are already important in your life. So we want to let anything that's in the system filter through, and then we want to let his new guides start working with him to give him direction and let him live that experience for a while and let that show up in his dreams. And we'll see how vastly different his dreams are.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. They got to bring those back once he has the new dreams to kind of see what path he's going to go on. If there's any changes that he needs to make. What do you think?
I think he's lucky. I don't think he'll have to make many changes, but it will be interesting, very much so, to see the difference in his dreams. And maybe we'll put one of them on the show.
That'd be cool. All righty. Let's go to the next stream. This one sounds interesting too. It's Meg Trance Channeled, and this is from Amy. I only remember the end of the dream. I was watching a video of Meg trance channeling. I don't remember what she said, but there was some focus at some point in the dream of her being very curious about how her chakras worked and which ones were being used during the channeling. When she finished, it was obvious she'd been trance channeling because when she tried to speak after, her voice didn't sound the same, as if the energy was still so high from having been channeling that she couldn't sound her normal self. When she'd been trance channeling, her voice was strong and steady, but after she was trying to catch her normal strength of voice back, she was talking from more of an airy place after. Alrighty, Michael, what the heck is going on with this one?
It fits well with the other dream because we're talking about dreams and channeling. So this particular dreamer was meant to trance channel years ago. And I told her that many years ago. I can't remember how long. But anyway, she knew it, but she hasn't done it yet. And the dream shows it still plays on her mind. She's an amazing channel without going into trance, but she doesn't trance channel. And her guides took the pressure off long ago. She can still trance channel if she wants for fun and discovery, but she doesn't have to for her mission success anymore. And she didn't fail anything. The path she would have taken is simply being met in other ways.
Very interesting. Okay, so let's see. How is it met in other ways if she's not trance channeling?
Well, this is one reason you have guides. When you hit a block, they find a new path for you. Her mission includes learning to rely on others for support. And this is a major masculine energy lesson for her. By trance channeling, she'd have to rely on support from the other side. A trance channel has to surrender, and in the early days, and even the not so early days, it is common for them to panic at the idea that their other world counterpart won't show up and they'll lose face in front of their audience. So, not unique to her, but by doing that, she learned to trust that she would always be supported because she always would be.
So what is this new path then that she's on?
Well, she's not on it anymore, but she got ill. And that's a common result of not using your gifts. The illness led her down a path where she'd have to rely on support from others. So it moved from spirit support to physical support, and she couldn't avoid it. Guides ensure we achieve what we came here for.
Wow, this does seem a little harsh, don't you think?
Well, we look at this in such a backwards way. We are the tail wagging the dog when it comes to understanding our lives. Not achieving your life mission and having to reincarnate to learn the lesson that you refuse to learn in a future life is way, way harsher. When the illness hit, she approached us and another path was found for her. That's the difference between the karmic and dharmic paths. I know you didn't even ask, but on the karmic path, life hits you and you grow because you're forced to. On the dharmic path, you can negotiate with the spirit world to find another path because you embrace the lesson fully in a more spiritual rather than physical way.
Very interesting. So, what about the chakras that were mentioned in the dream?
Well, she's trying to figure it out how to do it in a mechanical way, but that defeats her purpose. She needs to lean on the spirit world, not on herself. And a lot of people think that trance channels are 100% accurate. Amy probably buys into that too, but they aren't. Trance channeling can be dramatically more accurate if you can get out of your own way. But few people do that well. Edgar Casey did it because he went to sleep. But most trance channels can still leak their own ideas into their readings. Not always, but sometimes. Another important point, you can be a terrific trance channel and be compromised because you're not discerning enough about who you channel. Just like for the last dreamer, your guides or angels could be replaced without you knowing it. Now, angels won't be taken hostage like guides can. That can't happen. But they can be relegated to watching on as a rogue replaces them on the other end of your channel. The rogue can pretend to be them by copying them. And you can't tell unless you've learned to discern. The rogue can then play to your ego by introducing you to a superior, higher level being, again, another rogue, who you then trust implicitly going forward. And because you think they're introduced by your guides, you give them permission to connect with you. And these substitutions, though, they don't happen on the other side by chance. They happen because you let a nefarious human into your circle, someone who's dark or worse. And it's very easy for someone like that to create a veil under which all of this happens. And when you've accepted the new superior angel, i.e. given the rogue permission to connect with you and inhabit your space, you are captured until you get help. And most people will not ask for help because they remain oblivious. Why am I saying this? I'm just pointing it out because the dreamer needs to be okay with not trance channeling.
Wow. Do you cover this when you're doing our channeling course?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things that I think that is quite different about our course and other courses. And I wouldn't say every other course, but a huge element is learning to discern, learning to build a connection, build a bridge to your guides. First of all, I say guides, but it's who you channel, like I said earlier, is often not one of your guides. It's somebody who's in place waiting for you to develop that ability and use it. It could even be as high as God. Some people channel God. And your guides then help you in all the rest of your life. They also help you getting to the point of being able to channel, but even though you're not going to be channeling them. So we help people discover the mechanism that they've got, and usually you've got at least two good ones. And then we teach them how to use those and how to ignore everything else. And it's very important that you ignore everything else. You just cover the mechanisms that are yours, and then you connect to who you're meant to connect with. And you build up a rapport and an understanding of that connection. And then I teach people how to run through their own energy field and test for compromises. Are they infiltrated, for instance? Like that wouldn't be an early test, but at a certain point in the process, you're going to check for that. And then if you are, we teach people how to clear that or clear anything that they discover. But even with that, it can take a while before you can get very good at clearing, say, like an infiltration. And so anybody who's ever done our classes, we meet every Wednesday and I will clear anybody who shows up that needs it. Now, not everybody needs it. And it's usually not anything as severe as an infiltration, but occasionally that will happen. And you could say, okay, well, how can that happen? If somebody's done your course and then they're infiltrated, what happened there? You're always susceptible. The humans in your orbit are the ones you have to be wary of. Nefarious angels or beings don't go around looking for unsuspecting humans. It's other humans that get into your space who do something to bring a nefarious or negative being in. And so that's mainly how things are going to happen to you. One thing that I do see from others is a lot of people, when they can detect that there's an issue with somebody else, they try to clear them. That's the most stupid thing you could ever do in your life. If you're not meant to clear, don't do it. And I even check when I'm clearing other people, I check, is it okay for me to clear this one? Or can my team take on the issue that this person is experiencing? And if they can't, I don't send them into that battle. I escalate it and we get somebody else in our team to take care of that problem. And we've got somebody who can go all the way up and help anybody with any issue whatsoever, whatever is going on. But it's a hugely important point when you're channeling that you're aware of these things and you're discerning about who you're connecting to, and you know how to check and test your connection before you ever use it. And people can get very bored with that because they're like, hey, this is taking me 10 minutes to get into this space or longer if you're very new to it. It's like, yeah, so what? It doesn't matter. Just get used to it. You will get quicker at it later on, but don't ever skip the step. And another step that people can skip sometimes is closing down afterwards. And that can get you into trouble too. Most of the time it won't, because usually there's nothing around you that can cause you any problems. But if there is something around you that can cause you a problem and you didn't close down, then you're going to be in big trouble later on. And you'll know it because your dreams are going to show it. But yeah, we do take care of this. And we do teach people how to trance channel. If that's your mechanism, we go that far with it too. But always treat it from the perspective of, I can't see who I'm talking to, so I need to validate that I've got the correct connection every time I do it. So check your energy, check many things in your energy field. We teach you how to do that. And then when you do make the connection, you have this kind of protocol that you put in place to make sure that you're talking to who you think you're talking to. And that's a very simple thing to do as well. But skipping those steps would be a silly thing to do. I would never skip those steps.
Wow, those were very interesting dreams this week. I love how the subjects change and it gets really such detail out of the dream. It just blows me away. Anyways, that's it for this week, everybody. We don't have time for anything else. I hope you have a fabulous week and we'll be back online next week. Bye.
See you next week. And do you love how I said dreams trump channeling and then finished with going on and on about how wonderful channeling is? See you next time.